We'll begin the session in 2-3 minutes. We are just waiting for other people to join in. We'll begin the session in 1 minute. We're just waiting for some more people to add on. Okay, I think let's begin. So good evening and namaste to everyone who is joining our second session on understanding mental well-being. On Saturday, we normally interact with school, college students in sessions for career guidance and support. Brishhood is a first India's impact university, and also we feel it's important to engage and interact with the most important stakeholder of education ecosystem, that is parents, who can create a long-lasting impact in a child's life. Welcome to all of you. Let me introduce you to our guest speaker, Toral Shaji. She's a former investment banker and MBA in finance. She is a school leader, principal of Dominic Group of Education Institution, a K-10 educational institution in Hyderabad. She believes in teaching by understanding the individual mindsets and capacities of the learners of her schools. She has worked with over 2,000 children and coached, trained, and mentored about 500 teachers so far. Recognizing the children need on an open platform to voice their ideas, thoughts, feelings about a particular topic, she founded Drishya in 2018. Drishya is a widely accessible program inculcating the habit of questioning, self-expression, and creativity. She has contributed immensely for the children from marginalized communities in the field of education and has revived a couple of schools in Hyderabad. Empowering the children by providing an opportunity for autonomy, creation, experimentation, and flexibility is what she is passionate about. A very warm welcome to you, ma'am. So before proceeding ahead, there is some ground rules that I wanted to share. So first of all, please don't turn on the mic or interrupt while the speaker is speaking. And all the questions will be taken in the end in a question and answer round. You can put your questions in the chat box, and I will personally curating them for the speaker to avoid any confusion. And without taking any further time, I will ask Total Shaji to take the session forward. Over to you, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Saurabh, for the lovely introduction. And I'm really happy to be here. I hope I'm audible, Saurabh.
Yes, ma'am, you're audible.
Okay. So a very good evening and namaste on this auspicious day of Mahashivratri, where I'm getting this opportunity to deliver this session on mental well-being of our child, of all our children. So it's my privilege to speak with all of you here. And I would really want this session to be interactive. So as Saurabh said, if you have any questions in between, please feel free to post it on the Q&A chat box, and we can take it up from there or at the end. So let me begin. I will share my screen here. So we are here today to discuss about the mental well-being of children, and children specifically being children within the age group of 10 years plus or 12 years plus. So why are we discussing this? And what is the outcome of it is what we will begin with initially. So I would like to start my talk with this poem by the prophet Khalil Gibran, where he has written a poem. This is not the complete poem, but this is just a part of it, where it talks about children in general. So as you can see, it says, your children are not your children. They are the sons and daughters of life's longing for itself. They come through you, but not from you. And though they are with you, yet they belong not to you. You may give them your love, but not your thoughts, for they have their own thoughts. I think this is quite self-explanatory, which goes to say that your children are actually not your children and they don't belong to you. Now, this is something which is difficult to understand. How can I tell all of you that your children are not your children? But that is actually, if you think from this particular mindset, that probably they have been brought through us because we are probably a medium through which they can come on this planet Earth. So if we see that we are only a medium to them, to provide nourishment to them, to provide the right kind of environment of learning or providing them food, home, etc. But actually they are not our property. So this is a very different approach or different perspective of seeing our own children. And that is what I thought I should start this discussion or this session with you with this mindset, that once we have this mindset that our children are our responsibility and our duty, that we have the responsibility to only nourish them. And we have to nourish them, nourish their souls until they break out of their chrysalis and start to discover the mysteries of themselves. So they have to, we have to bring up our children and provide them nourishment, but we should not impose our thoughts on them and make them believe and influence them the way we think and feel. They are unique. They have their own thought processes. So if parents try to shape their minds with their own ideas, then we are actually eliminating their inherent power of their souls. So what am I trying to say here is that let them blossom the way they are. We are there only to nurture them and nourish them. And let them just come up with their own thoughts and their own ideas and their own views and perspectives. And we are there just to listen to them. We are not there to tell them what has to be done and what not has to be done. Well, that is a part of our duty, of course, to tell them, to talk about values, ethics, and all of that. But what I'm trying to tell here is we are not trying to bring about our expectations on them, saying that I expected you to do something like this, or I want you to do something like this. That is our wish. That is our desire. And we don't want our desires to be met through our children. So that is why I thought, let me start the session with this beautiful poem, which is on children. So talking about the outcome, what are we taking away from this particular session is that we will understand the mental well-being of teenagers and any child. It doesn't matter, teenagers, anybody who hits the age of 10 plus, we are talking about them, and how you as a parent will be able to assess his or her well-being and take necessary steps at the end of 1.5 hour, how much ever time this particular session takes. So the agenda is something like this. We will be talking about the mental well-being, what is mental well-being in its first place, and why is it required? Why is it important? And what are the influencing factors for mental well-being? And then in particular, we will be talking about the adolescence, that how it impacts and what changes come about for our children when they hit puberty or when they hit 12 years of age and plus, and how we as parents, educators, adults, guardians, etc., can help them out. And then we will see a couple of short cases in comic form to make it very interactive, so that you actually try to, these are real life situations where you will be able to see these are some of the statements that we make as parents and educators on a regular basis, and we are not probably mindful of that. So everything that we speak and talk to our children, how it impacts them in a big way. So these are the short cases for that. And last but not the least is the most important part, which you will take away from this session, is about the questionnaire that you will go through and you will tick mark what is applicable to your child. And then what are the next steps that you will be taking in order to ensure that there is mental well-being and the mental fitness there for your child or children. So I hope this is clear. So I'll move ahead. Okay, now coming to what is mental health. So mental health is basically referring to positive, social, emotional and psychological well-being. So positive functioning is the central component of mental health. And we must have heard of many things like mental illnesses, mental disorders, and things like that. So when we talk about this, it actually we are talking about their mental well-being or their mental impact, which is on the child, impacting them as to how they are behaving, how they are feeling, how they are thinking. And this is not in the most optimal form that a person should be functioning. So that is where we talk about mental health. Now, why are we talking about these 6 dimensions? Because it's not just about your mental, how is your mental stability? It's not just about your brain, right? We are talking about all these 6 aspects, where all the 6 aspects come into the picture. So being physically fit, that also matters and goes into the mental makeup of an individual. How social is the child, how emotional is the child, and how is he spiritually developed? Can he have a very intellectual conversation? And how is he physically well? So all this comes into the picture of making, or so to say, the behavioral health of the child. So we will be using the terms behavioral health and mental health interchangeably here. And so if I have to say what is wellness or mental well-being, it is basically a comprehensive approach to all these 6 dimensions. And all these 6 dimensions come together to make a complete healthy person, whether it's physical, mental, spiritual, and social. So focusing on wellness is basically a positive process. So when do we say that a person is mentally fit or mentally really positive? Is that when he is consciously working towards being happy, and happiness is found within, as we know, and towards achieving his goals, and he is successful in achieving his goals. So that is when we see that all these 6 dimensions are in sync to achieve one's goals. It could be any simple goal. It could be a daily goal also. And as long as he is happy within, he's finding joy within, is when we say that he is mentally fit. So now, why are we discussing about mental well-being? Is because this is the statistics that that was found in the National Survey of Children's Health. And it is said that 1 in 3 children under the age of 18 deal with ACE, that is adverse childhood experience. Now, what is adverse childhood experience? This could be anything. It could be like some problem in the family, or somebody being a victim of violence, or just being neglected at home. Everybody is too busy at home. Everybody has their own devices, and they don't have time to talk, basically. So you are being neglected, or both the parents are working, and because of which the child doesn't know whom to talk. So he resorts to the digital devices, getting cyberbullied and things like that. Or there could be physical problems at home by some family members, and because of which that is having an impact on the child. So it could be n number of reasons for the adverse, for a child to go through an adverse childhood experience. And this is, we are talking only about 1. So 33% of the children go through this, and 14% of the children go through at least 2 of them, as mentioned there. So what actually, how parents influence the well-being of their children is what we will see here. So what has to be, what I'm trying to bring about here is the parenting styles. There are majorly 4 parenting styles here. That is, as you can see, authoritarian, authoritative, permissive, and uninvolved. So as parents, we all do our part by providing a stable home, ensuring that our children understand social norms, provide them with skills necessary to tackle with difficult emotions when they come up, right? Now, we don't want to be guilty of underparenting, thinking that I am not looking after my children at all. मैं मेरे बच्चों को देख रही नहीं हूँ, मैं मेरे काम में busy हूँ. So we are not thinking of that. Okay. At the same time, we don't want to do over parenting also. We don't want to do something where we are helicopter parents and we want to look after them, that micromanage them कि बेटा homework किया, बेटा खाना खाया, बेटा इसको phone किया, खाना फ्रिज में रखा कि नहीं, and आपने ये होमवर्क किया कि नहीं, टीचर को फोन किया कि नहीं. We don't want to get into all that as well, right? So and there is no right way of parenting. So now that we will see each of these parenting styles, ऐसा नहीं है that any of these parenting styles are the most correct ones, right? We have to assess and see, depending on the situation, which is the one that is most suitable for that particular situation. So for example, if we see the most authoritarian, if we take the authoritarian style, authoritarian is basically a parent who gives clear rules that अगर आपने ये किया तो आपको reward मिलेगा, अगर आपने ये नहीं किया तो आपको punishment जरूर मिलेगा. Okay, so that is like a thing like it is my way or highway kind of an attitude, where we are saying that everything is given in a structured environment, and if the child breaks the rules, or if he feels that, oh my God, if I don't follow this particular thing, then there is no way out and I'll have to face the bad consequences. So here, the child is raised by a parent called authoritarian parents, which can develop into something called anxiety and depression. So one has to really understand when to use this particular harsh kind of a parenting style, which is very dictatorial. The second one is authoritative. So in authoritative, what happens is, probably it's like this. Instead of the parent making the rules, the parent makes rules with the child, taking his decision as well. So there is a lot of open communication, and children are being listened to. Children are being heard. So if one is grown in an authoritative household, this probably gives a solid foundation to the child. And there also a strong connection is made between the parents, between the parent and the child. So because here it is both parent and child working together on a particular thing, it becomes also friendly in a way. The third one is permissive. So in permissive, what happens? For example, the rules are again set up. But here in the rules part, now the parent sometimes forgets the rules. And he's saying that, forget it, I don't want to, चलो भूल जाओ अभी आपने ये मिस्टेक की है, या आपने ये बराबर फॉलो नहीं किया है, ठीक है मैं आपको माफ कर दूंगा. So in that what happens is the child starts taking this for granted, that मेरे पिताजी है, मेरी मम्मी है, वो तो माफ कर देंगे, मैं जितने भी मिस्टेक्स करूंगा, मैं और 5 मिनट मुझे और खेलना है, 5 मिनट और थोड़ा ये करना है, वो करना है, it will be allowed. So here again the consequence of this parenting is that children start taking their parents for granted, because parents don't want to indulge into any kind of conflict. उन लोग को जिग नहीं करनी है. They don't want too much of unnecessary chaos at home. So they say, okay, take those extra 5 minutes. Okay, chalo, next time we'll see. This time you are forgiven. Things like that. So now in this kind of parenting, again, there are chances of a lot of risks that a child would want to take. And the last one is a parent who is completely uninvolved, where he is the least restrictive of the other three. And here he is seeing that lot of freedom is given, lot of autonomy is given without any boundaries. So the rules are there, but they are of no use. It's just for the sake of it that the rules are made, and there is no enforcement of. So either the parents are very busy, not there to look after their children at all, or they are there, but it doesn't really matter to them. So there are some parents who believe that, again, a lot of freedom and autonomy needs to be given to children, because that is their scope of growth. That is where we are instilling decision making in children. Well, that is right. But how you do it, that also matters, because here the child should know that they are answerable to their parents and they are not entitled to everything. So once that is understood, then probably the uninvolved parent can make an excellent parent as well. So there is no right or wrong way of parenting here. But parenting does make a huge lot of difference on the well-being of the child. As we have discussed in each of these parenting styles, how it makes up the mental makeup of the child. The child already is very smart. These days, sab bacche bahut hoshyar hai in every way. They teach us so many things that we don't know. So they pick up things like this. They understand our emotions first. So we need to understand and be careful about what we are speaking, what we are doing, what are our thoughts. They get everything like this. And this is not at the age of teens or anything. It is from our womb itself. Like when the baby is in the womb of the mother, that's when the baby realizes the every emotion of the mother. So it is a direct connection between the parent and the child. So we really need to be cognizant of the fact and really be aware that children know a lot, and we should not be underestimating them that maybe they don't know. The second thing that influences the well-being of the child is the culture. Now, it is in many of our households in India or even in the West or everywhere around the world, our culture has a big impact on our children. It is said, or it was being said, now that everything is getting very progressive, we are talking about 21st century skills and things like that. But still, nevertheless, we say that boys ko rona nahi chahiye, ladke rote nahi hai, or usually the woman of the house should not get angry, should not raise her voice. These are some stereotyped things that are spoken against genders. And that is also spoken against mental health. And it is said that in mental health, we should not be very vocal about it. Matlab, if we are talking to a psychologist, or if we are talking to a counselor or a psychiatrist or anybody like that, we should probably say we are meeting a doctor. That sounds better. I mean, mental health is a stigma. And it's like, oh, ye to bahut badi baat ho gayi. It's like, you are mentally ill. How can that be possible? But if you are having some other physical ailment, that is okay. But being mentally unfit is not okay. So these things come from our culture. And that is why that really impacts the child as well. Because as I said, hum log bole ya na bole, usse matlab nahi hota. Children understand everything that even if we don't speak about it. Our body language speaks a lot about our culture, right? So it is all about the child feeling that मैं ये मम्मी को बताऊं कि नहीं, मैं ये मेरे फादर को बताऊं कि नहीं, कि I'm having some problem at home, or I'm having some issue in my school or college. मैं ये बताऊंगा कि मैं बताऊंगा तो क्या होगा? What will happen? How will they react? How will they react to a certain thing that I will say? So these are certain things that children always think before asking something. And that too, I mean, to know that the parent is extremely strict about certain thing, or when the parent is extremely, he knows, the child knows how the parent will react to a particular thing, and he wants to refrain from asking that question. And he doesn't want to discuss anything on that front. So he will shy away from it. He will not discuss because he knows that my father will react like this. Or mujhe malum hai that if I talk about this particular problem about my friends, my mother will not even listen to me or will react to me, and I know what answer she will give me. So we will discuss these cases which are there at the end of the session, where these are small tidbits which we all parents say on an ongoing basis and don't realize that, as parent, what we have said. So that's why being mindful becomes extremely important, that, how we are dealing with our children. What is it that we are speaking? Every move and act of ours really matters in a huge way. Coming to the adolescence part, have you really imagined that though all of us have passed this stage of adolescence, what actually does a human being at that age goes through? There is a lot that the child goes through at this stage. And if we have to go through at this age of 40 plus or 50 plus or even 30 plus, okay, it's very difficult. So I really need to wanted to highlight these points. One is that there are many firsts that a child goes through. First of all, there are hormonal changes. Okay, there are many things in his body that are changes, all these chemicals releasing, which is happening for the first time, and he's experiencing that. And all these come about in a big way, and in all subtle ways. It sometimes comes about by way of bullying a particular child, removing the anger on a junior, or being extremely kind. It happens in both the ways. Second is they are really trying hard in establishing their identity, who they are, how do they look, am I looking fine, especially when they want to impress the opposite gender, or when they start developing affinity towards the opposite gender. Then dealing and establishing rapport with peers. So all these things are happening for the first time in their lives. And social media plays a very big role in their lives, because social media has a lot of advantages, lot of disadvantages. Advantages, we all know that it helps us connect and really improves our knowledge base in a big way. We know what all is happening around us, right? But at the same time, if the child starts posting lots of information, he wants to see how many likes he has got. And if he doesn't get those many likes, again, that leads to depression in a way. Facebook, Instagram, all these things we introduce, whether we introduce as parents to our children or not, children resort to it either in front of us or on our backs, but they will do it. Very few children we know who are not on social media at this age. So what happens when they see other posts, or when they see their competitors, or when they see other school children performing well? It can be really inspiring to some of them, but it could be really dampening for some of them who are really not doing that well. So social media is, when at this age, really impacts on them in a big way. And then we should not forget the fact that their brains are still growing. So if you ask any doctor or any pediatrician, the brain of a human grows up to the age of 25. And there is this part of the brain which is called the prefrontal cortex. So this prefrontal cortex is a part that the brain in which the brain comprehends different situations, and it deals with higher level cognitive abilities like planning, forethought, working memory, and impulse control. So all these things happen at this particular age during adolescence. So it is still growing, it is trying to figure out things, and that's why teens usually they struggle with forgetfulness, and they are more likely to engage in risky behavior. That's where they want to try all new things, like indulging in smoking, alcohol, things like that. And they know that, okay, what will happen? We will see, we will manage the consequences, but let us try. So this is the age where they want to try everything. And they also try to sometimes make rash decisions. They forget to do their homework. They have sometimes their careless attitude, and they sometimes even get very stressful when they are very serious about certain things. They get stressful about events. And then, so all this, this kind of lack of brain maturity, because the brain is not fully matured, it manifests itself in an ability to cope or rise above negative situations. So this is when teenagers actually develop some kind of either loneliness or too much of, like, just the opposite, where they are too much socially involved also. So we really need to understand what they are actually going through at this stage by not asking them every time. We don't need to ask our children every time, how are you feeling and what you are doing. Even with their body language, even with what they speak, how they speak, we all parents are masters at that, to understand every move of our children. And that really helps us know where they are heading and what they are heading towards. So these are the common diagnoses, or so to say, mental illnesses or disorders or concerns in children. So as you can see, these are the 4 broad categories. ADHD is, as you all know, hyper disorder, attention deficit hyper disorder, and hyperactive disorder. And the other one is behavior problems, anxiety, and depression. So now, how do we see ADHD in children? So these are some of the symptoms here. So it's either temper outbursts, negativity, non-compliance to certain things, angry and irritable mood, hostility toward authority figure. That authority figure could be anybody who's senior. It could be a teacher, a professor, or parents themselves, or a older sibling. Now, what are some of the behavioral problems? Restlessness, gets easily distracted. If you show, if the child is doing certain work, with some little noise, he gets distracted. And if you show him something, again, he gets distracted. So less concentration is what I'm trying to say here. Then constant forgetting to complete assignments, homework, complaints from parents saying that, homework is not done, things like that. Then difficulty in concentrating is similar to distractibility, and disrupting the class, probably creating some kind of chaos in the school, or complaints coming from the teacher regarding the behavior of the child. The third is anxiousness or anxiety. This usually comes either, say, during the exam time, or usually when the child appears for something new for the very first time. So when there are first timers, that is when the child gets really anxious. And this is probably when we feel that, oh, anxiety is part of it, because he is going through this situation for the very first. Anxious, and it is natural for my child to be nervous. Okay, well, that is fine, but then at the same time we need to figure out what is it that is leading to anxiety, first of all, and how is it manifesting. So is he really missing classes, or is there too much of absenteeism, and all this is without your knowledge? Is there really trouble that he cannot complete his work? Is it because of too much of nervousness because of which he can't do it? Or is he very, very self-conscious about certain things? And is that leading to some kind of physical symptoms? Like usually they feel that, my heart is racing very fast, or my stomach is paining, or I'm having fever. And many children try to shake their legs while they are speaking, when they are sitting. So these are certain things we as adults, guardians, parents, educators can notice in our children and bring that about. The last one is depression. Usually these words are really, depression is a word which is a very heavy loaded word. And children would not like to use that word. And we as parents also can say that maybe you are feeling sad right now. Maybe you are feeling discontent or unhappy using these words. So we'll see the different words that can be used in a bit. I'll be sharing it in a bit. So the words that we as parents use, for example, instead of using depressed, we can use a lighter word, which is sad or unhappy, things like that. Because depression, everybody knows that, depression means you are not well. Depression means there is a big problem, right? So we should try to avoid using that word when it comes to children till it is fully diagnosed by the psychiatrist or the psychologist. So now again, depression, how does it manifest? Poor work completion. The child doesn't want to talk, or he just withdraws himself from not talking to anybody. He just is very happy being with himself, or even with his gadget or whatever, or even without the gadget. He's just happy being there. Or constantly sleeping in class. Once in a while, sleeping in class is fine, but he should not be constantly sleeping in class. And there is lack of participation or involvement in anything that is being done. So these are some of the, this list is not a complete list. There could be more to this, but these are just some of the examples and some of the outcomes that can come about if they have any of these broad disorders. So here comes a very important part, which I would like to talk about, is that what do we do? First of all, whether the child has been diagnosed or with any of those four things does not matter. What we should do on a daily basis as a parent or as an educator, basically, we know that there is a strong correlation between exercise, physical exercise, being physically fit, and being mentally fit. It is highly, highly related. So if we have not started this, we should definitely take out time from our children's schedules to fit 1 hour of physical exercise every day. Now, what happens with exercise? Exercise releases chemicals like endorphins and serotonin, which improves our mood. And that is not only with children, that is with adults also. As you can see in the picture, with 20 minutes of walking, what it does to our brains. And it really elevates, it's not just about elevating our mood, but it can also get us out of from this world where we have, this feeling of loneliness and isolation. It helps us come out of all of that. Secondly, it helps us to challenge ourselves. Now, if we are putting a goal for ourselves that today I want to walk for 5 minutes, tomorrow I want to walk for 6 minutes. So you are morally challenging yourself that I can do better, I can do more, I can challenge myself to do more. So there itself, you are in exercise, you are putting yourself to say that I can do and I am capable of doing more. Secondly, what exercise does is that if you are doing it regularly, it is proven and research has been done that it reduces stress and symptoms of mental health, like all of this, schizophrenia, anxiety, depression, and all of that. And it also improves your sleep. If you exercise every day, you tend to sleep better. You tend to not sleep longer, what I mean to say, but you tend to have a deeper sleep. And children need to have deeper sleep because that is when their brain grows. So it is very important that children exercise on a daily basis. And because of exercise, the blood gets pumped to the brain, and because of which they can think better and clearly. And it also increases the size of this thing in the brain called hippocampus. And this part of the brain is responsible for memory also. So making children exercise is a must, and it should happen on a daily basis. It can be just physical exercise, or it could be playing a sport. Now, playing a sport has more advantages, is because it really helps you build n number of skills, more than what actually academics teaches you. So as Saurabh introduced, I am the principal and academic director of a chain of schools in Hyderabad. So in our schools, I make sports priority. We start the day with sports, or we start with younger children, with middle schoolers, we do yoga. And with older children, sports is compulsory. Whether there are exams, no exams, that is of no concern. But they start their day with sports or some kind of exercise. And why sports? Is because sports, if you are playing any team sport, for example, basketball or football or cricket. So here you are, what the child learns is leadership skills, collaboration skills, communication skills, all of this in one go. And the most important part about sports is it definitely keeps you physically fit. But the most important part is it teaches you how to face failure. So sports is all about winning and losing. If you have played a match, you will know that you have won or lost. How you are dealing with the victory. And at the same time, when you have lost the next day, how you are facing failure also at the same time, teaches you a lot about life itself. And when you have lost not just one match, but a couple of matches in a row consecutively, how you are coming out of that and coming back to your normalcy to play again. So that's why in all these ways, in every way, from all angles, being physically fit and playing a sport plays a huge role in a child's life. So if your child has not indulged into any sport, you can think about it. You can talk to your child about getting into some kind of sport or getting into some kind of physical activity on a daily basis. Secondly, having a healthy diet is extremely important, because that is again related to how physically fit you are. And that again impacts your brain as well. So we are talking about being mentally fit as well. So what kind of diet you are having, whether vegetarian, non-vegetarian, doesn't matter, as long as it is healthy you are having a plate full of 3 colored food on your plate. Minimum 3 color food is what is suggested by doctors to have. And fruits, vegetables, pulses, lentils, along with meat, eggs, all that is highly suggested because the body is growing. We know that our children's body along with their brains are growing and they need that kind of nutrition. Coming to sleep, adequate sleep is at this age for teenagers is around about 9 to 10 hours, and below this age is suggested 10 to 12 hours. But for teenagers, about 9 to 10 hours is what is suggested as good amount of sleep. They need that much amount of sleep to recover and for their brains to register how much ever they have, their brains have taken in the previous day. Now, what happens again at this age is they also try to try out caffeine, that is tea, coffee, and things like that. So, well, we cannot be helicopter parents and tell them that you should not have tea, you should not have coffee, because if we start telling them you must do this, you must not do this, that language doesn't work with children. They have to be explained, and this probably can be explained by perhaps sharing some research reports on what caffeine does to your brain. So caffeine has this half-time effect. So if you have had coffee in the afternoon, it has an effect on you till you sleep. And probably that might disturb you in your sleep also. You might sleep, you will get sleep. The child does go to sleep, but it is not deep sleep because certain receptors of the brain, they get activated because of the caffeine that you've had, but then they shut off immediately because you have just had caffeine. So we have to see in a certain way how to tackle this tea coffee problem with our children and to minimize it. Trying it, everything should be tried, of course. But we as parents should say these are the consequences. You are responsible. You are matured enough to decide for yourself what you want to do. So these are some of the healthy physical habits which play a big role, a huge role on being mentally fit. So how can we help here? So once we have understood that there is some or the other change that I am seeing in my child, either there is restlessness or there is too much of socializing, and trying to understand that change also, whether it's too much of a positive change could also be, alarming for a parent. So you need to talk to the child's teacher and probably check with the teacher that how is he doing at school or how is he doing at college? How is it that, do you see any changes in him? How is he dealing with his peers or with other teachers, things like that? Now, what are the resources that are available at school? Are you having some kind of, some kind of questionnaire or some kind of psychoanalysis test that you can do to figure out where my child is standing or what my child is doing? Something that you can help. Try to get as much information from the teacher as possible. And then you can also, you might want to check with your doctor or a pediatrician who has known your child for a very long time, knows you, or a family doctor or whoever. And he can probably help you do some evaluation and diagnosis as well. And you can, we will see these warning signs and symptoms. That is the last part of the presentation. So we'll be talking about these warning signs. They are similar to what we had discussed about the concerns of the mental illnesses. So it's similar to that. Lastly, talking to the child herself, talking to the child himself. So here, as a parent, we tend to get very paranoid. We tend to get very protective, that I want to do the best for my child. मुझे मेरे बच्चे को best देना है. I want to give solutions. I want to give advice, and I want to see to it that my child listens to me. So we as parents want to be that we are there for our children, but that sometimes does not work. I'll tell you why. It is very important that we first listen to what they have to say, because before the child starts talking, we want to intervene and we want to say a lot of things. So we have to control ourselves from doing that. We have to stop ourselves that no, first I really want to understand what my child is feeling, thinking, speaking, whatever is coming to his mind. Let her speak. And I'm just there to acknowledge. I am just there to hear him out. That's it. I don't want to do anything more. Now, what happens further to this is that when the child is speaking, again, what is our role? Our role here is, are we reacting to everything that the child is saying? You know, reacting meaning, oh, this is what she said. Okay. So, you know, every reaction also tells the child what he should be saying next. So we should be very careful as in what we are speaking, how we are reacting, because that reaction should not really hamper the child in what he wants to speak. Third is that we provide a very safe environment to the child, where we are not judging the child. We are not telling the child, look, because you have done this, you are becoming worse, or your behavior is getting worse. We are not there to say such things. We are first just hearing him out and just listening with lot of empathy, what exactly our child has gone through. And with lot of listening and with lot of empathy, we create a very safe and a positive environment at home. That is what our children need the most. And once we do all of this with lot of empathy and listening, and not judging our children or passing comments or labeling on them, that's when we realize that, okay, maybe now our child will open up to us. Maybe our child will really feel free to talk about things that might not be a very comfortable thing to talk about, but he will open up and he will talk to us about. Right? So this is one of the activities that I had conducted, and it works actually beautifully because literally you are doing it. So what you can do in this is that as it's put up here, first of all, ask your child to either tell you or write down the things that is making him sad or angry or anxious or anything of that sort. So you are writing it down. Second is, you actually take balloons and you tell them that, you know, all those things that made you angry and anxious, they are there inside this balloon. They are all being piled up in this balloon. And then after that, you leave the balloons and then they are floating away in the air. So when you are doing this, it really makes you feel, while you are seeing those balloons flying up in the air, that, you know, those things have gone. They are at your back, and you have moved forward, and those things have gone because you are actually doing it literally. So this mindfulness activity, I have done it several times. There is no short way to say that it has always worked, but it does make you feel good. It does make you feel happy about it. So yeah, so you must have gone through this emotions wheel. So this emotions wheel or feelings wheel is helping children label their feelings about how they are feeling. So these are the broad categories: love, joy, surprise, sadness, anger, and fear. So these are some of the things that really helps the child know, how am I feeling right now? What is my mental state? What is my emotional state? So labeling emotions and first of all, recognizing the emotions, then labeling the emotions plays a very important role. So this vocabulary is something that we as parents need to develop it ourselves, and also children need to develop it, because once you know how you are feeling, what you are feeling, that's when we will know how to deal with that situation, how to come across or come out of that situation. So I would suggest that you take a printout of this and you put it either in your room or put it anywhere convenient where it is accessible, and has to be shared with children as well. So now we will take this particular case study where we will see that usually these are the certain things that we as adults say that actually hurt children instead of helping them. So we feel that we are actually helping our children, but instead we are not. We are just passing some comment that could be hurting them. So for example, I know this is not clear, so I will read it out. Here the parent is saying here, I really don't like your friends. They're always acting like somebody. And here this the child is saying, but they are my friends. Now the second case is, the child is asking, can I go to party at my friend's house? So here the mother is busy on the computer and she is saying, not if Joe is going to be there. Not if that particular friend is going to be there. Right? Now this is the third one where it says, oh look, whose daddy is dropping her off. Then the father over here is saying, sweetie, you really need to find better taste in making friendship with people and to hang out with. So these are some things that sometimes we say, we blurt out and we realize that, oh, after I said that, why did I say that? You know, so that really makes us feel that we should be mindful of what we are speaking to our children, even if it is a yes or a no. Even that small word as just one word also really matters to them, really makes a big impact on them. So this is about friendship. This comic is about friendship here. So instead of such things, what could have been said, you know, that could have really mattered to the child or impacted in a positive way to the child could have been that, my child, you know your friends best, and maybe you know how to tackle with them, how to be with them. I hope you enjoy yourself. But then at the same time, you are the best judge as far as your peers are concerned, because you are learning from them. Ultimately, you are learning the most from them. So make a best decision about who your friends are and how they are. You know, something like that. I mean, one does not need to speak so much, but something like this, rather than just passing a blatant statement like, can't you make better friends? or don't go if this person is there, things like that. Now, this is the second scenario where it talks about actually mental health. The child is not feeling well and the child is avoiding to just talk. So here she is saying, Mama, I am worried and I've just been worried all the time. So the mother is saying, oh, calm down. You will get over it. This happens. Here the father is saying, when I was their age, I was called hyper, but now they call it ADHD. So, okay. Now the third one is, this girl, as you can see, is lying down. And the father is saying, stop being sad. There are people in the world who are a lot worse than you are. So by saying such things, you are, as a parent, you are undermining their feelings. You are saying, oh, you have gone through this, I've gone through more, and I've gone through worse. This is nothing. I've gone through much more. So are you trying to say that I'm not going through much? Are you not acknowledging that? Are you not empathizing with me about that? That is what the child feels. So instead of that, maybe one can say, okay, is that what you are going through? Are you feeling sad? Or are you feeling really worried? Let me understand. I'm there for you. Let's discuss. What is it that you are going through? How can I help? And this is also one more of the case where it says that I just don't understand this stuff. So this boy is saying he must be working on something, and he's saying that I don't understand this. So the father says, relax, you just need to try harder. The second scenario is, I can't believe my boyfriend broke up with me before homecoming. Don't be sad. This is just part of being a teenager. And here the father is saying, come on, you're going to blow your chances at a scholarship. So again, by saying such things, I would love to take answers from you. Like, what would have you said in situations like this? If you want, you can type in chat also. I would be happy to know what you have to say, what you would have said in this situation. So, as I said, that children at this age, at the age of adolescence, go through a lot. It is all their first timers, that I'm feeling this. There are too many hormonal changes, too many chemicals being released at n number of times during the day, at night, whatever, all these things happen. So by saying things like plain statements like, oh, I used to do much more. Oh, I used to work harder. Come on, you can do it. That's not a problem at all. Empathy plays a big role here. So, once the child knows that my father or my mother knows what I am going through, then I can share even more. But if my parent is really not understanding my state of affairs and what I am going through, then why should I share with him? Right? So that would really deter him from talking to the parent. So saying things like, oh, this is a part of it. You will pass by this phase. This is just a phase. You will go through it. Not a problem at all. Everybody goes through it. These statements really don't help our children. All they need is acknowledgement from us, and probably just a shoulder or just an ear is what they need. And that is all that we can provide. And they don't even want to know our advice and answers, to be honest. They don't want to know the answers from us. They are very happy that there is somebody to listen to us. So now I would like to, 1 minute. Now, after going through all of this, I would like to share this particular questionnaire, which you all could perhaps go through it right now, and which can, sorry, not this one. Yeah. So these are some of the behavioral problems, or any of these problems, right? So I would suggest that you get a paper and a pencil, and from any of these. Now, again, this is not an complete list. You can, whatever problems other than this that you think your child is facing, you can write, or you can make note. And it need not be a problem, it could be a change also. You can write down the change, and then we will see the next step. So I'll give here a few seconds, maybe 30-40 seconds, for you to go through this and make a note of this for your own child or children. Till then, I will just go through any of your questions if you have any. So basically, I can see that in the chat, some of you have written about speaking in Hindi. So I'll repeat this. तो इसमें आपको क्या करना है, आपके जो कोई भी चेंजेस जो आपने अपने बच्चों में देखे हैं, दैट वो आपको लिखना है कि घर में जो चेंजेस है, स्कूल में जो चेंजेस है, या घर के बाहर अगर आपने कोई चेंजेस देखे हैं, क्या चेंजेस देखे हैं आपने, एनी ऑफ दोस चेंजेस, पॉजिटिव नेगेटिव, यू कैन राइट बोथ, दोनों लिखिए आप. और बेसिकली टीनेज जो एज है इज अ वेरी डेलिकेट एज. आई वुड से एज अ पेरेंट ये और भी डेलिकेट और डिफिकल्ट है, एज व्हेन द चाइल्ड वाज जस्ट बोर्न. व्हेन द चाइल्ड इज बोर्न, we feel that, you know, sleepless nights और ये वो, हमको भी बहुत दिक्कत होती है to know that, you know, how will the day pass, because you can't understand that बच्चा क्यों रो रहा है, for what, when you are a new parent, right? But ये जो stage है, जब 10 years plus 12 years plus, ये जो stage है, ये और भी difficult है, because बहुत सारे changes body में होते हैं बच्चों में. तो ये सब चेंजेस किस तरीके से बाहर आ रहे हैं, ये वो 18 चीजें हैं. तो वो उसमें से अगर ये 18 चीज कंप्लीट नहीं है, इसमें इसके अलावा भी आपको कुछ ऐसा लगता है कि नहीं, मेरे बच्चों में ये चेंज है, ये और भी खराब हो गया है, ये और भी बढ़ गया है, वो भी आप लिख सकते हैं. ओके. और ये मैं आपके सबके साथ शेयर करूंगी, क्योंकि ये आपको बेसिकली हेल्प करेगा पता लगाने के लिए कि वेयर डज माय चाइल्ड स्टैंड. बिकॉज ऐसा हो ही नहीं सकता कि कोई भी चेंजेस है ही नहीं बच्चों में. सब बच्चों में चेंजेस होते ही हैं, और स्पेशली जब वो लोग बड़े हो रहे हैं, कुछ ना कुछ चेंज हम लोग को ड्रास्टिक दिखता है. तो वो आपको रिकॉग्नाइज करना है, वो आपको पहचान के लिखना है. इसके बाद ये जो नेक्स्ट स्टेप है, उसमें है ये टाइप्स ऑफ फैक्टर्स. मतलब ये चेंजेस क्यों हुए. So these are all the factors which are the negative factors जिसके वजह से ये चेंजेस आए हैं. और ये जो फैक्टर्स है ये पॉजिटिव फैक्टर्स है जो आपको प्रोबेबली चाहिए में आने के लिए, ताकि ये पॉजिटिव चेंजेस आ जाए बच्चों में. और या योर चाइल्ड इज मेंटली is probably very mentally very well to undergo his studies and all of that, right? So अभी ये जो फैक्टर्स है, ये जो लेफ्ट साइड पे है, ये नेगेटिव फैक्टर्स है और ये पॉजिटिव फैक्टर्स है. इट इज कॉल्ड रिस्क फैक्टर्स एंड प्रोटेक्टिव फैक्टर्स, बट दिस इज व्हाट इट इज. तो ये आपने जो फर्स्ट लिस्ट 18 का देखा था, उसमें से आपको पता लगाना है कि वो क्यों हुआ. सो फॉर एग्जाम्पल 7th पॉइंट लेते हैं, प्रोलॉन्ग लैक ऑफ एनर्जी. मतलब बहुत जल्दी थक जाता है मेरा बच्चा. ओके, बहुत जल्दी थक जाता है और उसको घर आने के बाद उसको बस सोना है, खाना भी नहीं है और खाना भी थोड़ा थोड़ा खाता है. थिंग्स लाइक दैट. ओके, सो दैट इज अ चेंज इन योर चाइल्ड. सो नाउ यू हैव टू थिंक कि ये ऐसा क्यों हुआ होगा, राइट? इसमें से कोई पॉइंट्स है जिसके वजह से my child is feeling very tired. Okay, so probably you can associate that with a health problem, that prolonged lack of energy. Is it because मेरा बच्चा बराबर खा नहीं रहा है और उसको सही तरह का पोषण नहीं मिल रहा है? What is it? Or is it that he is not growing in height? What is it that is stopping his growth, and why is it that he's feeling very lethargic or very tired? So because of this health problem, then you might take the next step. Probably I should check it again with my teacher, with my son's teacher or my daughter's teacher. And then after that, check it with the doctor also, right? So that way, these are the positive factors, and these are the negative factor and positive factor. Now, promoting your child's protective factors. So now these questions are important. So now, which protective factors are the most valuable to your child's life? Meaning, out of these positive factors, which are the ones that you would like to adopt? That now that you've realized it's a health problem, would you like to have something like a structure at home with clear routines, clear sleep routines, clear eating routines, clear rules that we should be eating this because it will help us to have vitamin A, B, whatever, things like that. And that is very clearly explained between the parent and the child and agreed upon. So what are the protective factors that are the most valuable to your child's life? Second is, how have these protective factors actually impacted? So if you have tried any of these, how has it impacted your child's mental health? Thirdly, any of these protective factors, आपको ये protective factors में से कौन से adopt करने हैं, कौन से लेने हैं, कौन से you think कि it will matter to you or it will impact your child positively and it will impact you also, right? So for example, supportive relationships. तो इसमें क्या है that I have realized that my child does not share much with me. Is it because मेरे पास टाइम नहीं है, मैं भी वर्किंग वुमन हूँ, मुझे भी टाइम नहीं है, तो मैं क्या करूँ, right? So I have to tell myself that look, I need to take out time for my child and I need to really support him in everything that he wants. And the last is, what specific steps can you take to improve this protective factor? तो अगर आपको ये सपोर्टिव रिलेशनशिप्स बनानी है घर में, what will you do? What steps will you take? How will you bring that in your daily routine so that your relationship is strong with your child? So if you do this 4-question, it will really help you assess your mental well-being of your child, and you can apply it to yourself also, right? So this is what it is. I mean, this is what my presentation is about. I hope it was useful. And I know I have overshot the time. So I'm open to questions. All that I can say is we have to be extremely patient, and we have to be extremely loving, show a lot of love to our child. And I actually didn't realize I didn't speak about love at all. Love is the first thing that should come out of us. The very first thing that children need is love. And once we love them selflessly, unconditionally, which we all do, then, most of the things fall in place. और जो हमारी जो आकांक्षा है, सब जो अपेक्षाएं हैं, उसको थोड़ा दबाएंगे तो वो पोएम भी इफेक्ट में आएगा. जो स्टार्टिंग में मैंने पोएम का डिस्क्रिप्शन दिया था खलील गिब्रान का, इज लाइक हमारे बहुत सारे एक्सपेक्टेशंस है. वो एक्सपेक्टेशंस हमको बच्चों के थ्रू, we can't meet those expectations through our children. Okay, we can't live our dreams through our children. We have to learn to not do that. हमारे ड्रीम्स हमारे लिए हैं, बच्चों के ड्रीम्स उनके लिए हैं. हमारे ड्रीम्स we can't live through our children. कि मैं नहीं कर पाया तो मेरा बच्चा कर पाएगा, तो उससे ही ज्यादा बहुत सारे प्रॉब्लम्स उधर से ही चालू होते हैं. Okay, so I would like to take any questions if you have any. Saurabh, if you can.
Thank you, Turalsha ma'am, for the insightful session. And I hope each parent will be understanding and will be with me that mental health is just as important as physical health. And it's crucial to prioritize taking care of our minds and emotions. So we have 2-3 questions, ma'am. So one question is from Himanshi Devi. She's saying, ma'am, how we can concentrate in the studies? How we can concentrate in the studies? Yeah.
Well, that's a very generic topic, no? How we can concentrate? You mean how to make children concentrate on their studies?
Yeah, Turalsha ji. Yeah.
Okay. So first of all, it all depends on, see, everything, all the subjects might not be of your child's interest, but the child has to study, right? It's not that, a child is interested in math, physics, science, biology, chemistry, drama, extracurricular, everything. It's not possible, right? So, how do we make a child do it? Okay, the child need not be good in everything, right? But how to make the child good in the things that he is interested in is what we should focus on, right? तो हमको हर बच्चे को सब सब्जेक्ट्स में तो हम लोग we can't make them experts, right? We all have our domains, we all have our expertise. Okay, how can we encourage the child to be good in a particular subjects or in the subjects that he is interested in? Should be our focus. Okay, but at the same time, probably concentrating and telling him that, look, this particular subject you have to take in, you have to give your board exam for it, you can't avoid that, right? So you have to study that. That also depends on how the teacher is making the child interested in that. Everything the parent cannot do. The teacher plays a very big role here. How the teacher is making the child curious. First of all, curiosity plays a big role in this. how to get the child interested and curious about something. There are two ways to this. First of all, you start from where the child already knows. Okay, that is what a teacher should do. Now, you all are not teachers here. Some of you could be, but that is a teacher's job. Okay, how to make the class interesting and engaging by having an interactive discussion, right? Now, this lecture kind of a discussion, the days are gone. Nobody does lecture kind of teaching anymore. How is the teacher getting the child interested? Number one, making the child curious from what he already knows. Okay. Second is related to your real life situation and giving a purpose for the study. So basically, your child is not liking physics. Okay. We have to make the child understand how it is important to you in your life. How does it matter to you in your life? What is the purpose of studying this particular chapter? That is what the teacher should be focusing on. Why are we studying this? What is the purpose of studying this? Once the child understands that logic, what is the purpose of understanding or learning trigonometry, how it applies in my daily life, okay, or applies generally also, that is when he will be able to develop interest in that, right? So that a lot depends on the teacher. So I would suggest you can have a one-to-one with the teacher to understand how she is delivering this. How is she teaching? How is the teaching methodology in your school or college, right? Yeah.
Yeah, Toralji. So
I
Jayanti,
hope I've answered that.
yeah. So so Toralji, Jayanti ji is asking, we have to accept the change and move on, but that's not happening. But some of the root system of teaching and learning should be there, but this generation doesn't accept. The main problem is impatience in parents, but what's the solution?
So you are saying, okay, it is, you said Jayanti Sham Prasad, right?
Yeah, ma'am.
Yeah. Yes. So road system of teaching, Jayanti sir, is that, you know, many schools are going away with that. Now that the NEP 2020 is also talking about the same thing, and most of the CBSE schools also are getting away with rote system of learning and teaching. And even in my school, Jayanti sir, what we are doing is we have just after COVID, we have done away with rote system of teaching. So what has happened in this process is that a lot of parents complained and a lot of children were also not coping with it because questions are given in the textbook. Now those questions are not asked in the exam, right? So when that happens, we got many complaints, numerous complaints कि आपने जो क्वेश्चंस या वर्कशीट्स दिए हैं या आपने जो क्वेश्चन आंसर्स दिए हैं उसमें से तो आपने कुछ भी नहीं पूछा है, तो फायदा क्या है क्वेश्चंस देने का? So lot many questions came like that, and many parents left our school also, in spite of doing lot of parent orientation and explaining to them. But all I have to say here is that we are not testing memory of the children here. Because with rote learning, we are testing only memory and nothing else, right? So if a child has a good memory, he gets full marks. If the child does not have a very good memory, he does not perform well, right? So after a lot of explaining to the parent that we are testing the conceptual clarity and the foundation and the core concepts of the child. Only if your child has understood the concepts, that is when he will be able to attempt the exam properly, and that is when he will be able to write his exam properly. So that is what we are teaching in school. It will take time, but we all need to have patience as parents, as teachers, as the various stakeholders in the education field. and the school leaders also. It will not happen overnight, sorry. It will take time. And now that we have started and we are in the second year, we are still having this problem. First of all, the teachers have to change, because the teachers are in the system of explaining the lesson and explain. After explanation is over, hard works, write the question answer, right? And chapter is over, and then exam. अभी ये तरीके से कोई भी नहीं पढ़ाता है सर, और ये तरीके से तो हमको उठना है, because we want the child to understand the fundamentals, because that is what will matter in developing the skills also. Am I able to write the answer on my own? If I have understood something, am I able to write the answer on my own? That is what we are teaching our children in our schools. That मुझे light, sound, energy समझ में आया. अभी उस लाइट के ऊपर एक क्वेश्चन है, क्या मैं अपने आप लिख सकता हूं कि नहीं? That is what matters, not copying from the board. उसके लिए ऐसे तरीके से पढ़ाने के लिए पहले टीचर को ट्रेन होना जरूरी है. There is a lot of unlearning that the teacher has to do first. कि पहले as a teacher मुझे चुप रहना है. मैं अगर चुप रहूंगी तो मुझे बच्चों से आंसर्स मिलेंगे, सब आंसर्स मिलेंगे, राइट आंसर्स, रॉन्ग आंसर्स, सब मिलेंगे. मैं सब खुशी खुशी एक्सेप्ट करूंगी एज अ टीचर, राइट. उसके बाद फिर मैं देखूंगी कि क्या आंसर्स डेवलप हो रहे हैं क्लास में, और फिर हम लोग सब आंसर बनाएंगे एक साथ. टेक्स्ट बुक में से कॉपी करके नहीं, अपने आप आंसर बनाएंगे. जो हम लोग साथ में डिस्कस करने के बाद हम लोग को क्या आंसर मिला है, उसमें से हम लोग सीखेंगे और खुद लिखेंगे. तो दिस इज व्हाट वी आर डूइंग इन आवर स्कूल. और ये मैं आपको भी बोलना चाहूंगी, इसमें पेशेंस और हार्डवर्क की तो बहुत जरूरत है, बिकॉज दैट इज व्हाट NEP 2020 ऑल्सो टॉक्स अबाउट, कि रोट लर्निंग तो बंद ही करना है, हैंड्स ऑन लर्निंग, एक्सपीरियंशियल लर्निंग ही करना है, और वो फंडामेंटल्स और कोर्स स्ट्रॉन्ग करेगा. Yes, it's to do a lot with student-centric approach. We have to develop student-centric approach, as you rightly said. Thank you so much for that question.
Thank you, Tural ma'am. So Shailan ji is asking, Madam, don't you think that the present system of education has more pressure on kids, and how does NEP help?
Yeah. So NEP helps exactly in that. NEP is a very, very progressive policy, which is and very forward thinking, very progressive. And it is talking all about making education fun, learning with fun. It has introduced other things also which were part of controversy, like, teaching a mother tongue, how is that possible, things like that. But it is a very utopian kind of a way of looking at it. Now it depends how the policymakers are will implement it. Well, as we all can see that with Nipun Bharat and with Sarthak document coming in, everything is progressing at a very fast rate, right? It has got to do so much about 21st century skills. And what are these 21st century skills, which is really required in today's fast changing dynamic world, where we are talking about AI, chat GPT, things like that, right? With everything AI doing, so so many jobs will get redundant. We will get out of jobs, right? What will happen? What will our children do? If chat GPT is writing all the essays and doing all the teachers' work, then what is our work, right? So that is what we really need to understand, where everything is evolving so fast and going at a fast rate. We don't know how to cope up with so many things that are going on, right? But this is what I want to say here, is that we have to make our children very nimble and adept and very, have their adaptability quotient up. That and that is why these 21st century skills, which talks about critical thinking, communication, collaboration, creativity, all of this. This is all what matters, because AI cannot take over us, right? It can do the work. Like, for example, smartphone, when Apple launched it, it was revolutionary, right? We never thought everything will be at our fingertips. We never thought that, but it has not taken over us. It has made our work easier and more convenient, right? So similarly, now with this NEP 2020 coming in, 21st century, AI coming in, all of this, it is making our work, it is enabling our work to be more convenient. It is an enabler. It is not replacing us in any way, right? I hope I've answered the question. I know in some ways I'm just, I could digress, but if I have not answered, please let me know.
Yeah, ma'am. So the final question is from Ruth. So he's asking how to cope up with the loss of someone close during adolescence and the child becoming addictive.
Oh, well, that is something we have to, that is something that maybe I cannot answer, to be honest. All I can say is, sir, you really need to consult a counselor or a psychiatrist, because they would be able to help you as the child becomes addictive to certain thing. Is something that is to do with medications, and all that the child should get from his other parent and relatives and friends is support. And the child should be taught how to grieve also. Many a times as parents we say, be strong, hum log hai na, kuch nahi hoga. All these words don't help. The child actually needs to cry it out. Let him grieve. Let him cry out. That is what I feel. Especially when the close one family member is not there anymore. This is the way probably to, this is the coping mechanism. But to deal with this addiction part of it, maybe I'm not the right person. But I would just say to consult a doctor or a pediatrician or a psychiatrist for the medications.
Okay, and this is the final question from Priyanka Netriji. So she's asking how to boost confidence in a sensitive child.
Yeah, exactly. So Priyanka ji, in this, right, you have to first realize that you have to first recognize, not realize, recognize what is your child good in. So we have to understand what are his competencies, okay, and what is he confident about. Now there is a difference between competency and confidence. Competency is what you can do. Confidence is what you think you can do. Okay, so that is the difference between competency and confidence. We have to instill both in our children and recognize which are the competencies that are your child has. Once you have recognized that this is the competency my child has, okay, as a parent, you try to nudge him and push him in that direction. Again, it shouldn't be very explicit that beta jao, ye karo, no. It should all be very subtle. That do you think there is any program in your school that is about public speaking, or that is about dance, whatever your child is interested in, music, okay, push him in that domain and encourage him. I would say make him join him with an expert, or I mean to say join class or something, right? This is the way you can boost confidence in your child. because that is the only way, right? If the child is not opening up in any other way, you are recognizing that my child is very good um, in some physical activity, but not at all good in studies. Doesn't matter. You push him first in the physical activities, right? That is anyways, as we discussed in our session, that physical activity takes top priority, at least for me, right? So push him in that sphere, and then that will automatically boost confidence in him.
Thank you, Toril ji. I think all the questions has been answered. So yeah, thank you, ma'am. Thank you for joining. I will be sharing a small PPT with the parents. Just hold on for a second. Yes. Yeah. So normally the questions, normally a parent asks the question, how to approach a career choice. So first of all, obviously the step one is to jot down the interest of the student. So what kind of interest that he or she is showing? For example, like is he or she is interested in game design, communication, content writing, videography. So the parents should know the interest of the child. Step two is identify study options and research on scope. So, like, what kind of courses are available in that particular area? For example, if a child is interested in videography, is there any course which is available in the academy or in the college or in terms of university level? And the third point is find out colleges that offer your interest. So normally there are three types of colleges or university. First of all, it's a government college. Second is semi-government, which is a combination of government and private. And third is a private university. So obviously you have to look into the market in the Indian education market, what kind of colleges are there and whether that college is able to offer the interest or the courses as per the interest shown by your child. Fourth is discuss with your parents or obviously discuss with your students on affordability and other points. For example, what is the tuition fee, what is the accommodation, lodging fee, and in terms of whether the college university is able to provide placement, what kind of infrastructure does they have, and also the student faculty ratio and some other things in terms of like faculty, curriculum, and etc. And step five is go through the admission process. Each college and each university have some unique add-ons to their admission process. Some take entrance examination, some focuses on GD and PI round. So have a look at their admission process and admission dates. And based on these five steps, I think parents can help their child in choosing their right career choice. So normally our Rishud University has categorized the courses in three categories. First is social science and humanities. So in this, we have psychology honors, economic honors, BBA, BCom honors, and in postgraduate, we have MBA. In terms of in category creativity, we have bachelor design. In that, we have sub categories which is product design, fashion and textile, communication design, interior architecture. And in postgraduate program, we have master design. Subcategories are industrial design, fashion, textile, and communication design, and interior architecture. And in healthcare, we have BSc honors in public health and hospital administration. So nowadays you must be hearing greater importance of public health and hospital administrative people, because after COVID struck, a lot of system had collapsed in around the world in terms of public health and administration and all. So I think there is a greater demand of courses like public health and hospital administration BSc honors courses. So how to select a university? So the main question arises. A lot of parents obviously ask us in sessions like Saturdays, like what are the key pointers or filters that needs to be taken care of in terms of selecting a particular university. So first of all, obviously you have to see or check that if that particular university is providing residential campus or not. So residential campus is very much important in terms of the value addition that the campus can give. For example, if a student is residing in campus, he or she will be interacting with the students from around India. from different diversity. And also he will be having peer-to-peer interaction and also interacting with the faculty teachers who will be staying in campus. The kind of knowledge sharing that they will be gaining in residence will be class apart from the person who is just coming in and doing the classes and all and just leaving. So second is the faculty student ratio. So obviously you should be checking out the faculty student ratio, whether it's 1:5 or 1:10. Normally, a lot of university, in private university, you must have seen that in college, in UG courses and PG courses, thousands of students are selected normally to gain traction or normally to gain revenue. But if I talk about Asian University, normally we have a faculty student ratio of 1:5, so that we can focus on a student on a personal basis. And if a student is facing any kind of problem in terms of academics, skill learning, knowledge sharing, then the faculty can hear and resolve that issue. Third is the diverse peer group. So obviously you need to check whether the university has a diversity or not. So just like कहते हैं कि कश्मीर से कन्याकुमारी तक. So whether the particular university has a diversity or not. Normally in Rishit University, you will be having a mixed diversity from Northeast, Kashmir, South India, North India, Bengal, Bihar, Jharkhand, from all around India. Fourth is the right ecosystem. So whether that particular university has clubs, whether it has college fairs, whether it has different kind of activities, events happening. So it helps in boosting the confidence and gives exposure to the student while selecting the university. Fourth is the industry exposure. So you need to check the placement, the internships that the college is providing in terms of industry exposure. What is the average placement package? What is the average stipend that they are able to provide to the students? Fourth is the interdisciplinary curriculum. So you would be knowing every problem has a solution, but obviously you should be able to incorporate different approaches. For example, if you are able to solve a problem in terms of like what are the solutions in terms of politically, socially, technologically, legally. So these are the different aspects of solving a problem of a single problem in terms of solution. And seventh point will be the global exposure, whether that university has some collaboration with foreign university, whether summer camp happens or not, whether they are having some exchange program with UK university, US university, or Australian university. So that point needs to be taken care of. And focus, and also the last point, but not the least, focus on lifelong learning. So in Rishi University, we believe that all the students are lifelong learners, and we have a special vertical which is known as Rishi Ed. So we normally cater to students from from K-12 segment to person who is currently working professional. So yeah, so these are the pointers that needs to be taken care of by selecting a university. So our university has normal 5 schools, which is School of Entrepreneurship, School of Creativity, School of Education, School of Healthcare, and School of Public Leadership. And we believe that we will be able to create education leaders or education learners from these schools. Students will be doing courses under these categories of schools. We'll be able to create some impact in the society going ahead. So Rishit University has also launched a global community for all your parenting needs. So if you it helps a parent being a mindful parent. It helps in getting it helps parents in being rooted and free family, and also being holistic and how to develop a holistic growth of a child. It's a one-stop community for all parenting queries or problem. It will be an engaging group for parents, and you can ask any question related to your child. For example, if he or she is facing any problem, behavioral problems, anxiety, depression, concentration, any issues related to studies and all, that's the one-stop solution for all your parenting needs. So this is the link. I will be sharing this link in the chat box. You can join in right now. And normally, obviously, the parents will be asking, so, sir, there are other Facebook groups also which are there. Why should I not join that particular group? So normally I have personally seen and engaged with these groups. So I normally there are 3 things that I have noticed in these groups. Facebook groups, which are there otherwise in terms of parents community Facebook group. First of all, that they are not engaging and active. We are engaging and active. Second, they do not conduct any kind of online sessions. We will be conducting online sessions. For example, this was our second session that happened, and in the coming week, we also are planning to have another sessions. That's going to be insightful and will provide value to all the parents. And third point, we also have it's an extension to this global community, which is Rishi Plus. So we also have a bi-monthly magazine, which is named as Rishi Plus. It's normally for documenting ideas, people, culture, and learning experience that reshape human life. So any of your if you have any content that you want to put on Rishi Plus and want to contribute to this magazine, we'll be more than happy to take that content, and I will share the mail ID down below, so that you can share your content, anything that we can put in the Rishi Plus magazine. Normally, the Rishi Plus magazine is being distributed to schools and all the industry leaders who are in the Indian education ecosystem. So yeah. And by the way, we also have Index Summer School, which is coming in the month of June, and it's for especially curated for ages for students who are in the age bracket of 14 to 17 years of age. It's a 7 day of fun and learning program. It's a summer camp and designed to nurture the best in the students. And it's an opportunity to understand university life better and build the profile for college applications. So normally the question arises: so why Index Summer School? So normally it helps in strengthening the profile of the student. For example, if he or she is applying in colleges abroad, or he or she is seeking admission in colleges in India, obviously they have to fill a big application form where they are asked, why should we choose you? So obviously these are the pointers that can be put in the application forms to get a better competitive advantage over other applicants or other students who is applying for the same course. And obviously enrich your university experience. Not any other summer camp will be able to provide a university experience, 7 day university experience, that Index Summer School is able to provide. And also we will be catering to diverse subject areas. For example, in the previous edition, so in previous year we had Index Summer School and we have Index Winter School. So a person, learner was learning, had a enriching experience learning about storytelling, youth leadership, human sciences, design thinking, entrepreneurship, digital skills, music, organic farming, dance, and all. So yeah, so this is the link that we have for the Index Summer School. The applications are still open, and feel free to share it within your network with all other parents who have a child aged between 14 to 17 years of age. And it's not similar summer school or summer camp. It's a unique summer school with Indic ethos to added to it. So about the Reshoot Catalyst program. So a particular student, when he or she applies for the Reshoot online application, he is able to access a series of 5 to 6 webinars and counseling sessions under the Catalyst program, which helps in discussing their interest, gaining what kind of interest that they have in terms of career, and also give guidance in various opportunities which are there in the education market. And apart from that, the admission process. So normally, Rishiod University, we have the admissions open for UG and PG courses. So normally there are 3 steps in the admission process. One is obviously you have to fill the application form. It's an online application form. Then you have to give the Rishiod scholarship and aptitude test. And third and the final is personal interview round. So selection criteria. So selection criteria, in terms of selection criteria, if I talk about, we normally check the academic records, extracurricular achievements, statement of purpose, RSAT, and personal interview round. So if I talk about any other university, you would be seeing that normally they focus on some examination, for example, ZAT, MAT, or any other personal examination that they do, or personal interview. And based on that particular marks, they select a particular candidate. But in Rishiut University, you will find that we don't only see the examination result or the personal interview round, We also check the statement of purpose, what he or she has written in the statement of purpose, and what kind of achievement he or she has in terms of extracurricular activities, whether he or she has been into Model United Nations, started a debating club, he's into sports, he have achieved something in nationally, internationally, and also in terms of academic records. So this is the selection criteria that we normally do. And feel free to come to Rishit University. It's in Sonipat. We'll be more than happy to cater to your needs, and just let us know. And if you have any questions, feel free to WhatsApp, call on this number, and this is the mail ID that we have. And yeah, thank you so much. And just checking if there is any other questions. Yeah, I think Tanu has shared the details of the Facebook community, and yeah, also the Rishi Plus magazine. Yeah. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you for joining in. And we'll have the next session, third session, which will be coming by in few weeks. And we'll be sharing all the details with you. We have your mail IDs and contact numbers. So we'll share all the details with you for the coming week session. Please join in for the Facebook group. It's free of cost. And yeah, it's gonna be an engaging Facebook community that we are building up. It's new, it's gonna be engaging, and any problem that you have regarding parenting or anything regarding parenting, feel free to post it on the Facebook community group, and all the members will be more than happy to solve the queries. And also, if you have any articles that you want to contribute in Rishi Plus magazine, you have the Google form within you. You can, and also you can reach out to admissions@issue.edu.in. Yeah. Thank you, Jayanti ji. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.